Hello, this is Catherine at I Know I Need to Stop Talking. I'm really sorry, I've been away for 2 weeks and I genuinely didn't mean to miss a week on podcasting, but my goodness me, it's been bonkers, even more bonkers than usual. This is the downside of having two children who are born within 4 days of one another in October, and then myself also born in October. Very clearly, there is only one thing that my family does in January. That's disturbing, isn't it? So yes, lots and lots and lots of October birthdays, which has somewhat distracted me. But I hope everybody's okay. I hope everybody's been keeping safe and well in these crazy bonkers. What tier are we on? What even is a tier? I mean, I don't know why I'm asking. Like anybody in power in government has a clue, first clue what the whole deal with the tier thing is. But yes, I hope everybody's keeping safe and well and sane. And I can't say at all I will be sorry to see the back of 2020. It has been a fucker of a year. Anyways, birthdays. Let's talk about something slightly more cheerful. Birthdays. So yeah, it's been a mad couple of weeks really, trying to get through all the birthday shenanigans. Although let's be honest, COVID, taketh away, but COVID giveth as well. And being able to use the delightful excuse of, I'd love to have a birthday party for you and 20 of your closest friends, but sadly, Mr. Johnson tells us we're not allowed. Well, damn, isn't that unfortunate? Never mind, you'll have to have one friend round and it'll be a really quiet and sedate event instead. I can't say that hasn't been a pleasure. Children's birthday parties, goodness me. It's a little bit easier, I have to say, now mine are that bit older, but when they were younger, there's probably a whole podcast, isn't there, to do on the hell of children's birthday parties and children's birthday parties in soft play. I don't know what hell looks like, but if you told me it would be a birthday party for under sixes in soft play, I'd be like, yep, no, entirely plausible. So yes, COVID has taken in many ways, but COVID has giveth. So as a result, we've had fairly low-key approach to birthdays. And to be honest, that was possibly my undoing, because I think in my own mind, I thought, okay, so it's going to be a pretty low-key approach to birthdays this year. Fine. That means there's very little I need to do. My kids are older. They can set up their own Amazon wish lists, which is a dream. I would just like to say that possibly one of the greatest and most entertaining things I've seen of all time was the Amazon wish list that Beth set up for herself. I don't want to give away too much detail because it would be both unfair on her and very outing, but my goodness me, if I thought I had an eclectic brain, it has nothing on Beth. Even Jamie looked at it and went, really? So yeah, so we had kind of taken a very low key approach to birthdays, and therefore it kind of hit me by surprise as we got into the start of the first birthday week, when I suddenly went, fuck birthday cakes. Now, to give some context to this, I'm fully aware that if I had any common sense whatsoever, I would be looking at the amount of time, money, and fragments of my soul it costs to make a birthday cake for my children, and go, I could probably spend 2%, if any of those, by going to supermarket of my choice and selecting pre-made birthday cake from the shelf, which will have been made by somebody far more capable than I am, and I can lie down and have a little rest while my children enjoy a beautifully decorated cake. But I am very stubborn. And if I go right back to when I was a kid and birthdays, and my mum and dad were amazing when it came to birthdays and all the attention to detail they put into it, and birthday parties and everything they did. But the one thing that shines through even now as an adult when I think back to the birthdays that I had when I was younger is, without a shadow of a doubt, is the birthday cakes that my mum made for me. And my mum's an amazing cook, but I wouldn't necessarily say that birthday cake making is something she possibly had up her sleeve prior to having children. But it was, without a doubt, one of the greatest testimonies of her love to me. And I can pretty much remember every single birthday cake that I had made for me between the ages of however far back I can remember to the point when I left home. While I had, some lovely presents, I'm sure, over the years as a child, actually, when I think about the run up to birthdays, the big excitement genuinely wasn't the presents. It was what amazing cake creation was my mum going to have made me this year. Like I said, I can remember every single one of them. Now, I am a shit parent in many ways, many and varied ways, But the one thing that I kind of, things like crafting with my children, dear God, let me go and boil my head in a vat of soup instead. I cannot think and never could think of anything worse when they were the children. The thought of the gift unwrapped from the well-meaning relative, and you open it and it comes with fucking glitter, and you're like, oh my God, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why? Why would you bring glitter into my home? Anyway, I digress. But yeah, crafting with my children, no thank you very much. And there's a lot of typical kid type activities that I didn't enjoy, that I steered away from. I would not say that I was a stereotypical or indeed very good parent in those aspects. But the one thing I always swore for my children that I would do, probably because it meant so much to me when I was little, was I was always going to make their birthday cakes. Oh, how that has come back to bite me on the arse over the years. And I can give no better example of how much it's come back to bite me on the arse, and regular blog readers will know this, but of all the cakes that my mum made me when I was little, the one that stands out head and shoulders above the rest, she made me a greengrocer's stall, like a market greengrocer's stall, and it was covered, the cake was absolutely covered with individually made, by hand, carefully coloured and moulded fruit and vegetables, bananas, oranges, pears, plums, cherries, bunches of grapes. It had a rice paper awning, which he'd then painted with red and white stripes in food colouring. It was the best cake in the world. Now, stupidly, again, hindsight, beautiful thing, I made a huge deal to my kids of, this was so amazing, this cake was so amazing, look what Granny made me, wasn't she amazing, isn't this an amazing cake? And then Jamie turned around one day about 4 years ago and went, I think I'd like a fruit stall cake. Now, my first reaction was not to run screaming for the hills and promise him cold hard cash in return for not asking for that cake, which is probably what it should have been. My first reaction, I cringe at the shadow of myself that I was back then. My first reaction was to go, oh, that actually sounds quite fun. Oh, how wrong I was. No, there are many things I can describe the making of the fruit stall cake. Fun was not one of them. But naively back then I went, of course, darling, of course. Oh, it's the tradition, it's carried through the families. And I made the fruit stall cake. The fruit stall cake, the cake itself, quick bake, no problem. Layer of buttercream icing to pull the stall together, no problem. The moulding of the fruit and vegetables, I think, took me roughly 12 hours. I mean, goodness me, it was a labour of love and then some. And to be fair, it all came together. It did look amazing, almost as good as my mum's. I won't say as good because nothing's ever as good as the original. But I made it and I felt this sense of triumph. I was like, yes, I've delivered for my child. I've made a fruit stall cake. He was delighted. I'd done it. That I thought was that. 12 months later, Jamie, what birthday cake do you want for your birthday this year? I'd like a fruit stall cake. Pardon? Yeah, I'd like the fruit stall cake. Oh, at this point I'm like, no, you have had the fruit stall cake. You've had your one chance at the fruit stall cake. And Jamie doesn't ask for much. He really doesn't. He's a very low maintenance, very chilled out kind of guy. And his face just ever so slightly fell, and he went, okay. But it was a really good cake and I did really like it. I mean, how can you refuse? How can you refuse? Stupidly, I said, of course, darling. Of course, I'll make you another fruit stall cake. The next year, what birthday cake do you want for your birthday, Jamie? Can I have the fruit stall cake again? Oh, dear God, I made that fucking fruit stall cake 3 years in a row. But then finally, after spending probably upwards of 2 weeks of my life on the bastard thing, this year, I said to him, Jamie, what cake do you want this year? Obviously, he had to go for the wind-up line, because that's my son. Obviously, he had to go with I'd like the fruit stall cake, ha ha ha. And I kind of braced myself to be making it again. And then he said, oh no, actually, I think I'd like a swimming pool cake. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, well, hang on a minute. Surely, Catherine, a fruit stall cake is easier than a swimming pool cake. No. I have made swimming pool cakes before. Again, a cake from my childhood, a swimming pool cake. I again naively thought to myself, swimming pool cake? Oh, be done within the hour. I've cracked this. Again, how wrong can you be? So I had a little think about, I don't tend to decorate my cakes from books. So obviously I had the picture of the fruit stall, but swimming pool cake, I thought, well, that's fairly simple. Went to buy some blue jelly, because, is it even a swimming pool cake unless it has blue jelly? No, it is not. Turned out that with the very necessary, I'm sure, improvements they've made to food standards over the years, no longer possible to buy blue jelly in the UK. So I had to get it exported from the United States, where presumably they are more lax about such things. All I can say is, based on my children's reaction after eating said blue jelly, it's possibly a good thing that we've tightened restrictions over here. Fucking hell. So I ordered my blue jelly. And then I thought, because one of the things I've learned over the years with making cakes, then I thought, well, actually, one of the things I've learned is that it's really good to have the right tools. It makes your job so much easier. So I was like, right, well, maybe I'll, around the edge of the swimming pool, maybe I'll do like a little mosaic tile pattern like you'd have. And I was thinking to myself, little squares, quick job, isn't it? Blue jelly in the middle, marzipan around the edge, because my children won't eat icing. That's the other important fact to note in this. They won't eat icing. Don't blame them. Fucking hate icing. But so we were working with marzipan here. I was like, yeah, marzipan around the edge, few tiles, done, jobs are good, and boom, I'll have time to sit down and have a rest. Ha 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 ha. Oh, she laughs ironically. So yeah, I got to Jamie's birthday, took the day off work to make the cake, made the cake. That came together fine, no problem. Gluten-free. It's a caramel apple cake, gluten-free, that I make every year. Recipe is on the BBC website, should you wish to make it. It's very nice. That was the easy bit. Again, swimming pools, quite nice to make because they're sort of standard in shape. There's no individual moulding of fruit and vegetables to be happening. So I made my swimming pool outline, did a sort of a base layer of marzipan over it, and then I was like, okay, going to colour the marzipan, 3 different colours, pop those into there. I'm going to get the little, I have it's like a little square cutter outer thing. I'm sure there's a proper name for these things. Proper cake makers are probably listening to this going, my God. Anyway, I got the little square cutter outer thingy. And I was like, right, easy. I'm going to make some squares. I'm going to put them around the edge. I'm going to make some tiling. I will be done within 30 minutes. Listeners, I was not done in 30 minutes. In fact, that's probably the understatement of the year. I basically had, between starting the mosaic tiling and having, upon pain of death, to leave the house to get the children from school, I had 3 hours. So I was like, I am breezing it, no problem. Fast forward 2 hours, 55 minutes later, I am sweating like a woman possessed. I am pacing in the kitchen with this fucking marzipan stuck to my fucking fingers because it's so fucking sticky. And of course, all the baking programs go, you must work in a nice cool space. I mean, I've got sweat pouring off my brow here. Never mind a fucking swimming pool. I look like I've been swimming. I've got bits of marzipan stuck to my fingers, stuck to my face. My hair is stuck to the cake. It's absolute chaos. At one point, my husband phoned, Mr. I know I need to stop talking, we have a video echo device in the kitchen. He phoned to see how I was getting on. I mean, I looked like I was somewhere in the trenches. He was like, is everything all right? I was like, yes, I'm just making the cake. Having fun? Oh yes, I'm having so much fun. So yeah, I was frantically trying to stick these. All I can say is if you ever think, oh, a swimming pool cake, good, fine, yes, easy, blue jelly, no problem, get it exported, just watch out for your kids being hyper afterwards. Mosaic, no. 3 hours of tiling a fucking mosaic, which of course your kids look at and there's no appreciation for the decorative bits. They're just interested in the jelly, aren't they? I could have just served them a bowl of blue jelly and I think that would have had the same impact. So my best laid plans to make, lovely little marzipan figures to go around the pool, fuck that. I was like, right, tiling done. Only tiled the sides that you would see in a photograph. I'm not fucking stupid. I tiled the sides you would see. And I was like, well, you've got to have some figures in it. And I was like, okay, right. Literally 2 minutes before I had to leave to go and get the children, ran upstairs, pulled out the Lego drawers. I was like, there must be some Lego people in there. Of course, all Jamie's Lego people are bloody Star Wars figures, aren't they? Which is how Jamie's swimming pool cake ended up with Darth Vader, the Stormtroopers and Chewbacca having a little bit of a pool party. But hey, Jamie was delighted. It was all good. And I still maintain that however fucking horrendous a mosaic is, nowhere near as bad as the fruit store cake. Never, ever make a fruit store cake, I beg you. So that was cake number 1. And you'd think at that point, time for a rest. And any sensible parent who had even vaguely, planned their breeding schedule to allow for the fact that you don't want to make 2 cakes in 4 days would have been able to have a rest. But no, 4 days later, Beth's birthday came along. Now, I've always said to the children that you can choose any cake that you want. That's how I ended up in the mess with the fruit store cake. And broadly, you kind of assume that there's sort of certain things that they're going to ask for. So Beth clearly has had a number of football cakes. I think she had a pirate ship when she was younger. Jamie's had a couple of swimming pools along the way. There was a car garage I think he had at one point. But there's certain themes that you think are going to come up. But what I have learnt, certainly should have learnt by now with Beth, is that every time I think I've got something nailed, Beth will surprise me. And thus it was. I said to Beth, what cake would you like this year for your birthday? Obviously, she had to do the wind up with the fruit store cake because that's like mandatory in our household. And I was like, ha ha ha, no you don't. Moving on. I said, what sort of cake would you like this year? I said, do you want another football cake? Do you want like one that's a bit girly with like, do you want makeup and stuff like that? She looked at me like I'd shat on her foot. No, she did not want a makeup cake. I said, do you want a Star Wars one? Do you want a Lego cake? What do you want? And she looked me dead in the eyes. She has an unnerving ability to stare you down. She looked me dead in the eyes and she said, I want a toilet cake. I thought I'd misheard. I said, a toilet cake? She said, yeah. I said, what, like a toilet? She went, yes, Mum, of course like a toilet. That's why I said it. Okay, fine. You want a cake in the shape of a toilet? Yes, definitely. Okay, I can make a cake in the shape of the toilet. At this point, I'm thinking, oh, it's probably quite easy, actually, you know, compared to a bloody mosaic tile. Toilet, sorted. And then she went, and it has to have a wee and a poo in it. Sorry, you want a cake in the shape of a toilet with a wee and a poo in it? Yes, Beth did. Which is how I spent my Friday night 1 week ago making a cake in the shape of a toilet, which did indeed have a wee, lemon jelly, and a poo, brown marzipan, and so realistic that even the birthday girl herself refused to eat the marzipan poo. And it was one of the strangest Friday nights of my life, genuinely. But oh my goodness me, you know, the one thing I will say for Beth is she wears her heart on her sleeve. And the moment when the cake was ready, and I brought her in, I was doing a big reveal with my kids and their cakes, and I brought her in. And honestly, the look on her face, and she turned to me, tears in her eyes, and she went, oh, Mum, I just love it so much. And I thought, you fucking weirdo. God love her. God love her. She's a little superstar. And then, of course, I posted it online, so hopefully you've all seen it. And, you know, one of my shining career moments to date, somebody who was once on Great British Bake Off saw my cake and liked it. That's it. I'm done. Cake making career over. Except, clearly, it won't be. It will be back again. Next year, please God, no fruit store cakes. So that was the children's birthdays really. So it's been a bonkers few days, and then that was followed yesterday by my birthday, by which point typically I've gone from being like the queen of birthdays, like there was like month-long build-up to my birthday. I've gone from being queen of birthdays to now being at the point where I get to my birthday and I'm like, I just want to have a lie down really. But I'm sure lots of you will have seen my post that I shared on Facebook, and I did am and ah about sharing it because I'm so conscious that there's so many people at the moment who want to be so much with their loved ones and can't. But I was lucky enough to spend my birthday with my daddy, one of my favourite people in the whole wide world, and we walked 16 miles, and it was just glorious. And I definitely think, you know, 2020's taken so much, but it has categorically reminded me of the stuff that's really important, and absolutely time with your loved ones is right up there at the top of the list. Or if you're Beth, toilet cakes, you know, everybody's got different priorities. So yeah, that's been birthday week. It has been intense. I am now going to go and lie down in a darkened room and think about what I've done with visions of toilet cakes and mosaiced marzipan. Seriously, never do it. Flashing in front of my eyes. Stay safe, look after yourselves, take care. I will be back next week. Lots of love, bye-bye.